Hey, it's your boy Ng Gavin, back with another video. In this video, we're going to talk about a comment that was by Nimi, and I hope I pronounced her name right, and she asks, can I talk a little bit about pre-inspection services and liability and also insurances in regards to Amazon FBA. So what I'll do is I'll answer each question briefly, because I could make a video on each question and it'd just be very, very long. So I'll do the 3 questions in the one video, and let's get right into it. Intro. Okay, so a pre-inspection service. If you don't know what a pre-inspection service is, basically it's like a third party that will go out to the factory or wherever the supplier is, and they will watch them produce the product, and they will test to see whether it's the right materials, whether it's the right, actually the actual factory is in the right, what the supplier says it is. So that's also good to know that, hey, if the supplier is like, we're in Guangzhou, we're in this city and the street, the pre-inspection service person can just go there, verify it's a factory first before proceeding, and then they can go into the factory, they can meet with the salesperson, then they can go and see your product getting made. And generally the things to look for when you make the product, there's a whole bunch of different processes that you need to know. But for example, let's just talk about the garlic press. So you've got the little press thing, you've probably seen them on Amazon. So one of those things with the garlic press would be the material. How do they make it? Is the material good? Is it strong? It's not going to crack. So that's one of the things. You would get the material, is it made of alloy? What sort of alloy is made of? So the pre-inspection people can go to that factory, test the material, or see that it's actually alloy, and then see whether that the product that you've ordered is exactly what the product that you're getting. Okay, because sometimes they switch the quality out. The thing with the Chinese, if they can save 5 cents, 10 cents, 20 cents there, they'll substitute the materials out, but they won't tell you. The good factories won't do that. So it's something to consider. Now you might be thinking, well, what's 5 or 10 cents? To them, over millions of items that they produce, it can equate to a lot of money. So they take shortcuts. And for you, it might seem a big deal, but once the product gets to the customer, and because they may be missing so much percentage of the metal that they say that they will put in the product, it makes it more brittle, and then when they go and use the product, it could break. That's just an example, okay? So that's why we use a inspection service, so then they can just make sure that the metal they're putting in there is the right metal. And then you can just show them your order, get them to take pictures, even videos, and from the whole process of when your order gets finished to when it's getting shipped out. And that's one of the benefits of a pre-inspection service. So basically, it's like it might cost you a couple of $100 USD to do this, but because you're just dealing with the factory the first time, this could be money well worth it. Now, I've never used a pre-inspection service because the companies that I used, when I was doing large volume, was basically I went to the factories. So I've been to China, like, I can't remember how many times now, 4 or 5 times, and I would actually visit the factory because I was buying by the container load, and I would actually look at all the goods getting made personally. So I would go there. But you people can't go to China. So the other option too is to just get the sample. So you order the sample in, and then if the sample is like okay, then you can order a bigger volume. But if you're ordering like 10 or 20 products, it's not really a big deal. It's only when you're doing like massive volume, like at the container level, that I would order pre-inspection service. Another way too is you can have an agent in China that buys all your goods, and then you can use them to go and check out the goods for you. Make sure the goods are actually what they say they are. So that agent will be like your eyes and ears on the ground for buying the product, and they'll make sure that when they get the product in, that they'll inspect it themselves to make sure it's good, and if it's not, they'll send it back to the supplier. If you want to find pre-inspection services, you can just go to Alibaba and type in pre-inspection services or pre-inspection, and they will list a bunch of pre-inspection services. They are generally around about 200 USD upwards. You can see how much rating there are for each one, and they kind of vary as well from the different locations as well. Okay, but they'll definitely go out to the factory and inspect your product, so you know that it's exactly what you ordered. Another place as well I found is this place is called FBA Help. I'll put the links below. This one here is another pre-inspection service. This one is actually done by one of the guys that does this guy here. He's got a YouTube channel and he's got a software, so he talks about it. I don't know whether he's affiliated with this website, but you can go and have a look at the video. It talks about the quality control and all that sort of stuff, and they start at I think it's about the same, 200 and something odd USD. So I'll put the links below. When you're in Australia, if you're a seller or an importer in Australia, you're deemed as a manufacturer, okay? Because that's just Australian law. Because they're not going to chase someone that is in China. They're going to chase you because you are the importer. So you need to be aware that whatever products that you're bringing into Australia, if someone has an accident or dies, which is very, very rare, okay? So don't worry about it too much, okay? But if this does happen, they're going to come after you, and that is why you should have a company, not under your personal ABN. You know, I've talked about this in another video. Liability insurance will cover if something has an accident, okay? And you can get liability insurance up to, usually it's about $20 million, and you can get liability insurance. All you need to do is just search on Google, type in liability insurance or liability indemnity. Just search on Google for Australia, and there's a bunch of underwriters out there that will write you up an insurance policy for your goods or for your business, okay? Now, out of all the importing that I've done over the many years, I had a high-risk product, so I had bikes. Okay, so this is before I started Amazon, when I had an offline business. I had bikes, and I only had one guy trying to sue me because of he fell off the bike and got injured, and he tried to sue me, which he didn't have much luck because he was trying to say that it was a defect in the product. So just keep in mind that for this to go to go to court, it's very, very rare. Usually, if you're in fault, you'll probably settle beforehand, and the insurance company will cover the costs if that is the case. But this is very, very rare. So one thing to do is just not to get don't get electrical items if you don't, or if you don't get like stuff that you put on your skin. Don't get pesticides. Don't get anything that can basically people can get sick or harm. Just stick to just normal stuff, like that's not going to kill people, okay? Just normal stuff, and you don't have to worry about it too much. But if you're at that level where you're making millions of dollars a year, or even just $1 million a year, or even just 500,000 a year, and you feel that you need to cover yourself or cover the business, then get liability insurance. Liability insurance, go search on Google. Like I said, get an underwriter in Australia that will insure you, and it's a very common liability insurance, very, very common. So don't worry about it. They'll write you up a contract, write you up a policy, okay? But don't just go to one, go to multiple underwriters, okay? Just search up the biggest insurance policy insurers like NRMA, RICQ, Suncorp. Just go to those people and just ask them for how much for liability insurance. And generally it'll be like 20 million and they'll give you so much, okay? But get multiple quotes first. So this would mainly pertain to like electrical equipment. And if we're talking about Amazon, if we're talking about Australia, Australia has certain certifications that, even though they don't enforce it, it's kind of like up to the manufacturer. You're kind of deemed the manufacturer because you're importing it from China. It's up to the manufacturer, meaning you, the importer, to put that actual item, if it's an electrical item. That's why I recommend you stay away from electrical items like fridges, stoves, ovens, hair dryers. Unless you've got liability insurance, which I talked about, you might want to stay away from it. But it's kind of like up to you to get the product to a certain standard because you're going to be liable, all right? So one way to do it is to actually get it from the supplier or the manufacturer. Make sure it's the manufacturer and they have those certifications already. So if they're a big manufacturer and they already hold what they call the, usually it'll be ASN, blah, 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 the certification, then they already have that certification that it's already passed the inspection, it's already been tested, and then you're basically buying it from the manufacturer in China, and then you can say that that product is already been certified to meet Australian conditions, okay? So really, you have to do your part when you bring the product in. You have to get it certified because you're going to be liable. So one thing is to just already deal with suppliers that are already got this certification. And then there's a lot of suppliers on Alibaba that will say they have it, but they don't. So then again, you have to do your due diligence and request documentation from that manufacturer and then contact the governing body in Australia to then make sure that, that supplier or that manufacturer has that certification or meets that certification, check the paperwork. So, if you're doing some sort of certification, you want some certification on the product, it's just an extra step that you're going to have to go through to get that product certified. I give you an example. Years ago, I brought in this massage kind of thing. It's like this massage belt. And I went through this process of certification and it was painful, very, very painful to get this product to get certified because I had to test it off. I had to send the product off to a approved tester, and then that actual company would test the product, and it would cost into the thousands, right? It can cost tens of thousands to get that certification. So again, going back to what I said before, I would just stay away from anything electrical that requires some sort of certification. Just go for simpler products. This is a website that'll give you more information on Australian standards and testing. Also check out standardsaustralia.gov.au. Also has some great information. Again, to get these standards up to standard and certifications and all that sort of stuff is quite a high cost to it. Most of the time it's not needed. Only things for like electrical, medical, and all those type of goods. Alright guys, so those questions, I hope that they cleared it up for Nimi and for you guys that are wondering about those questions, because they are valid questions. you certainly have to think about these questions, because this is going to come up when you're selling, certainly when you're selling in Australia. If you have any further questions, just leave a comment below, and I'm quite happy to make a video of it. It gives me content, and it allows me to answer direct questions that people are having, concerns, and then obviously the content's going to be applicable. And I love making these videos as well. Comment below, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. RACQ. It's been a while since I've been in Australia.